And hello, everyone, and welcome to the Good for Business show, LinkedIn Live, with the wonderful Gabe Leal, a super supporter of the LinkedIn Live community. And if anyone's wondering, his name is not Gabe. Like, I just like to throw that one out there. I'm in the right. Inside joke we won't go into, but welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So I do appreciate you having me come on, being a big admirer for a while.
Aw.
And exactly. And, I love the fact that what you've done and what you're passionate about on LinkedIn very much kind of mirrors like what I do. So you're very passionate about company pages and you share that passion out to everybody who is willing to listen, to watch, to read and pay attention to. So much so that you've actually written a book.
I
And
have.
that is what I talk about when I say that's what your passion leads you to. And I admire you for that because I'm very passionate about what I'm here to talk about today, and that is live streaming on LinkedIn. So there you go. Now,
Exactly. So,
you
for
know,
anyone that hasn't come across you, like, can you just give us a bit of a background? Who are you? What do you do? And who do you help?
Right. Awesome. So I am a LinkedIn live stream expert. Yes, I am. I've done over 350 live stream episodes and counting. And those are just mine. Those aren't actually other shows, other places that I've been on. That is just content that I've produced. I'm also a remote producer. I am a video content strategist, a live stream curator. I love that one.
Oh,
Aspiring author, speaker, and community builder. So if you are looking to get into the live streaming space, my particular skill set will help you learn how to do LinkedIn Live, or I also do um, evaluations to help people kind of up their production in their game. So I also do that as well. I spend my primarily the most of my time here on LinkedIn. And I do curate, and this is what I love when I talk about. I'm a curator of live streams. So I create a live streaming guide every Monday through Saturday, which includes now audio events. But the reason for it is because I wanted to make live streaming what I am passionate about more discoverable for people who want to watch a lot of these shows, because just like this one here that you're watching, guys, it is amazing content. It is a great way to learn and to engage with your community. So
mm,
that is what I do pretty much in a nutshell, Michelle. And
I
thank you so
love
much
it.
for having me come on.
I love it. So before we skip to the good part, can you please share the hashtag that people need to use for their
Yes.
live streams to show up in your community guide? Because that is such a valuable resource. So I'm encouraging anyone that's listening or watching today, go and connect or follow with Gabe, and then make sure you keep an eye out, because you're right. There's so much great content coming through on the LinkedIn live streams. It's just, yeah, mind blowing. So what's the hashtag that they need to worry about?
Yes. So the hashtag that I started was hashtag LinkedIn live streams. So anybody out there who is a live stream creator or creating content based around live streaming, please use the hashtag, because what it does is it'll populate your content or your shows or events in one singular location for people to discover who you are and what you do as a creator. The reason I created that hashtag is because I wanted to find a place where I wanted to see all the live streams that I was watching, and not only that, but find a way to discover people.
Mm,
And I saw that there was a need to fill that. Now that there is the hashtag LinkedIn Live, but there's a lot of content that's not related to the hashtag for some reason. And I think when the people type in live streams, you'll start seeing, and you go connect, you follow the hashtag there. It is mostly live stream shows. And of course, here's the great part, guys. It's why it's valuable. You can always go back to that hashtag and you can
mm.
search for replays that you've missed out on. You can go there. And again, you can find new streams that are people are populating and using this hashtag more and more every day. And it just makes it easy for us as a live streaming community to have a place to put all of our shows and our content. So that's why I
I
wanted to
love it.
create this. Thank you.
I love it. Now, we are going to go into picking your brain, and this is one of those opportunities where I get to ask all the questions that people out there probably always want to ask you, but we'll try and reach a bigger group. But I just want to acknowledge what's going on in the world before we skip into this, because it would be remiss of me to just gloss over the fact that we are in a world right now that's hurting in a lot of different ways. So, whether
Oh,
you are going through wars, here in Australia, we've got some really severe flooding that's going on around the place. So I just want to acknowledge that that's going on. I'm part of a fundraiser that was raised by Leah Turner. It's called the LinkedIn Masterclass. So we've got Andy Foote, Ariel Lee, John Asperian, Richard Vanderblom, Leah Turner, and myself have got together because we wanted to make a difference. Now, I've put the details in the first comment so that people can reach out and connect. It's our way as a community to be able to give back to the world. So keep an eye out for that. I just didn't want to skip over it. And Gabe, I know you're the same kind of human being as we are. You're a good guy that is always out building communities. And so I just wanted to put that out there. So I appreciate you giving me the space to be able to do that today.
of
So,
course, that's people's lives. That's what
yeah,
people's lives were uprooted. Um,
it's
with
insane. Yeah,
without them having to even ask. It was just shows up on your doorstep. So yes, you
absolutely.
as an empath, I feel that, and I feel the compassion and everything that goes on there, and my hearts go out to the people of Ukraine.
Yeah,
Because not only they're showing what they are, but what they're about, and everything they need to do by fighting back and being there. And
yeah.
I will always support that. So
I appreciate you for being you, and I know you have a huge heart. So that's exactly why I've got you on the Good for Business show. Now, we are going to go into giving some value back to the community. And obviously, we're here today on a live stream. But could you kind of step people through what is this live streaming? Like, what's the difference between that and maybe a Zoom or other ways that we could upload video? What is, at its
of
very basic, a
course.
live stream?
So the live stream pretty much is just you transmitting your video feed, right, over the internet for to a location that people will can actually watch, record, or actually interact with on different platforms, different devices. So it is a way to show your video in real time to a slew of different locations. Now we concentrate here on LinkedIn in live streaming, but you can stream to just about any platform out there that you can possibly think of. So
Yeah.
name all the big ones: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok,
Twitter. Yeah,
Twitter,
Twitter.
everywhere.
Yeah.
They all offer you the ability to live stream. So this is just actually straight real time video that people can actually see. There's no editing. There's nothing that what goes out and what happens is actually what's going to come across and what you're going to see. So we operate in live streaming without a safety net. So that is the fun part of what I get to do.
And sometimes things go wrong and sometimes things go right. There can be tech issues, there can be people issues, there can be people, I knew I was famous last week when I had a spammer come in on the LinkedIn Live. I was like, I have made it. Um, so what actually happens is, so for the Good for Business show, I stream this at the same time to YouTube and also to Twitter as well as LinkedIn. So for me, it's all about how can I spend the shortest period of time reaching the most people on different platforms, and repurposing becomes a big part of this. This show becomes a podcast afterwards. We also have on the company page tab, if you go to videos, which I'm a huge fan of, all the
Yes.
live streams sit there. So I have my own like mini LinkedIn YouTube type channel sitting on my company page. So I can send people back there after the fact to say, got a question about LinkedIn Lives. Hey, have I got the show for you? And so that's part of my strategy, is making sure that the people I meet and the amazing conversations I have, I make sure you've got a platform, but also so that we can, help as many people as possible. So,
And
how
that
is
is,
live streaming different to Zoom though? Like, can you, let people know
yes.
what's the difference between if I set up this on Zoom versus I set up a live stream?
So essentially, with what you would do in a Zoom, um, most people actually use Zoom to communicate face to face, to hold meetings, to do, conferencing. They do education through Zoom. Um, but it's more commonly used to do those sort of tasks of, hey, I need to have a conversation with somebody in a private sort of setting. Um,
Mm.
where in a live stream like what we're doing here, it is created with the intention of people to watch, engage, and to partake as an audience member. And that is why I love streaming to LinkedIn and to other places, because that is part of it, is the engagement that you get from an audience. So like in a Zoom, it's a little bit more difficult to have interaction. Now people can comment and stuff in a Zoom call, but in our live streams, what we're getting to do here, we make the audience feel like they're part of the conversation. So I get to see that Andy Foote is here, and Robert Berry, and Miss Leah Turner, Liliana's here, and there's just so many people that are here. Momita's here. So you get to see those people, that they're part of the conversation. They can drop their comments. They can actually drop questions here. We can bring them in as a live Q&A. So this is what I love, the fact about what we get to do as a live stream. And, it's very much to your point. We also can take this live stream afterwards and harbor it in a centralized location like this on a YouTube channel, or like you said, on a business page on LinkedIn, which is what I've been preaching your gospel to
Yeah.
as many streamers as possible. It's like, hey, do you have a company page? They're like,
Why
what?
would I?
Exactly. Why would I? And then I tell them, wait a minute, you live stream? And they're like, yes. And I said, and you don't have a company page? And they're like, no. And I was like, okay, this is if anything else, if it's nothing else in this, it is your resource to harbor your video catalog that you do here on LinkedIn in one centralized location. And like you said, if you want to kind of lead somebody to find something, so that you get the questions, hey, do you have a video on or tutorial on how to do blank? As a
Here's
matter of
something I
fact,
prepared earlier.
exactly. Check out my company page. Here's the link. And it's that
Absolutely.
simple.
And it really is. So to answer Robert's question that we just got, like, how do
Mm-hmm.
you make it happen? Well, the good part is, as soon as you schedule the LinkedIn Live on your company page, number one, it sits on the events tab. So it's there. You can see all the upcoming Good for Business shows that you might want to scroll through them and say, yes, I'm interested, and click attend on all of them. After we finish, straight away, it just goes onto the video tab, all without me having to do anything. So it's that easy. So who can have LinkedIn Live on a company page? Anyone that's got 150 page followers. For those looking to do LinkedIn Lives through their profile because they may not have a company or a company page, then it's easy for that as well. If you've got creator mode on, bang, here it is. You don't have to even apply anymore. You can apply if you don't have creator mode turned on, but I just love it. It's one of my favorite tools that I've discovered over the last 12 months. But here's what comes up for me, and I want you to kind of dispel a myth for the people that are listening in today. Can you start live streaming if you don't have lots of fancy equipment? And this is the thing, I think people use it because they're afraid of video and showing up and live, and we blame the equipment. What's your thoughts? You do this all the time. I'd love to know.
Yes. So straight up answer, no. Um, but what I do suggest starting with is an idea and a strategy. So those are the two things that I tell most people to do, is like, have an idea of what you want to talk about. Make sure that it's not something, number one, that you're going to be passionate to talk about over and over and over again. Because if you're just trying to create content and go, you know what, I'm going to be talking about, retail sales, and I'm not in retail sales, but I just, I see that there's a lot of people following it. Well, if that's not what you're passionate about, you're going to struggle to create content. Whereas opposed to if you're doing something that you love to share, it's going to come a little bit easier and a little bit more natural. Now you might struggle a little bit, but again, you get a strategy in place of what you want to approach. You don't have to have all the fancy tech. You can start with your phone in a hand, just like this. You can turn your phone on. You can start live streaming, and guess what? You can actually stream mobilely. If you wanted to go through LinkedIn and do a StreamYard stream, you can stream mobilely. You don't have to have a $90 webcam. You don't have to have a $100 microphone. You don't have to have all of these things to start out with. You just have to have an idea and a vision, and a way to get started putting it
Yeah,
on in the world.
absolutely.
That's it.
I think the only thing I would invest in when it comes to tech equipment at the very beginning is I would spend $15, $20 and buy a ring light, like because I think lighting is such a simple fix, a cheap fix, and can really change it from you being hidden away in the background to coming forefront. So I agree
Well,
with you. You don't
I'm
if
gonna
you don't
this
have
reminds
light, because I don't have light in my house. So maybe I'm a bit biased on
well,
that one.
I go this way. This is the route that I go because you can always find ways to get light. I always go number one, audio. And
Yeah,
I'm going to
got
tell you
it.
why. This is why. Because if I'm talking, there's no audio. Nobody
No
knows what I'm
audio.
saying. They don't have an idea. They can't even hear captions. So to me, audio is the first thing that you need to pay attention to.
Love
Then you
it.
go in the order of lighting and camera. I think in those specific skill sets. Because the thing is, you might have a dark room, but if you
Mm,
have audio and somebody's compelled by like what your voice sounds like and what you're doing, they still might stay and watch.
yeah.
Um,
Yep.
so I always tell people have the audio in place, and then once you have everything else figured out, then you go into the progression. So that's how I usually approach it when I tell people what my best practices are. I go audio, lighting, video, and then so forth. So
Good to
that is what I
know.
kind of concentrate on. But I always want to tell people if you're going to invest, make that the first piece of equipment you invest in.
I love it. Look, I bought a microphone which was around $100. So for those of
Mhm.
you who see, like, quite often, what is it? The Blue Yeti just gets thrown around all the time. It's like quite a
Okay.
few $100. If you're not doing lives all the time, you can skip that, like, and so, don't get put off doing LinkedIn lives because you don't have fancy equipment is the main point that I want to get across to anyone that's listening. The most important thing that you can do is have that strategy, get started. But if we're, new to LinkedIn Lives and maybe we've seen some around on the platform or gone through, your guide, what kind of formats work best? And is there any guidance on length of time, of how frequent, of, guests or no guests? What's your words of wisdom on this one?
Yes. So if I were to mention that, I would say more than anything, the formats that work the best are, the ones that are actually um, built out to kind of share um, a particular niche. Now, people
Mm,
don't like to always niche down. I fought it for a long time, believe me. Um, because you start doing human interest, you start getting very broad and general because it's fun because number one, you get to have tons of conversations with interesting,
mm,
wonderful people. But at some point, I think when you're looking to kind of refine your skills, so if you pick a particular niche that is going to target what you want people to actually know and understand, those are the ones that usually work the best.
mm,
So, because it has a particular segment that you're reaching out to. And so, unless you're just a celebrity and you have tons of people that follow, which there are some of those, um, I think having an idea of like what your niche is, those are the ones that work best because those are, again, they're very targeted. They have very good content related to a particular subject, and people tend to tune in because they want to learn about what that is. So those are the
yeah.
ones that I say usually work the best. And most formats, I suggest to people to start out with something small. So if you're getting started, a 10-15 minute live stream might work for you. Um, Now I see people that jump in and do 30 minutes, an hour. I'm going to tell you what, folks, it's hard to keep an audience for a whole hour. So you better be pretty darn
Is
entertaining
it?
to get somebody to tune in and go, I'm going to watch the whole hour.
I think
Um,
there's probably 20 minutes to half an hour of good stuff and lots of filler, and no one's got time for filler anymore. And I tried a few different formats. I found shorter than half an hour wasn't quite enough for me to get into a conversation.
mhm.
Longer than half an hour, just meant that we waffled on a little bit and we just filled the air. And, like, I don't want to be an air filler. I want to share my subject matter expertise. Like, I created the Good for Business show because I wanted to, replay lots of the conversations I had with amazing people that helped my business grow just by knowing them, following their content, and sharing that with people, because I'm all about how do you use LinkedIn to grow your business, not just how do you keep yourself entertained. I've been, guilty, just like everyone else, of getting distracted along the way. It happens.
It
It's
happens.
impossible not to. The other thing, can you talk to like is it better to be like have a consistent time that you're going live
Oh,
at for your show, or how does that impact your
that
audience?
is that is key. That is key component number one, is to have a consistency level. So when I was doing an everyday show, it was Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I was there, showed up every day. Um, and that's how I kind of built traction, is that people knew that at that time I was going to be there. And then you start building a following, and then an audience, and then a community around that time period. So when people
Mm.
get familiar with it and they know about it, when you're consistent, if it's every week, or if it's every bye week, you do it every time, same exact time, same place. That way
Yeah, so
people
the Oh,
get
sorry. I was
familiar
going to
with you.
say our common friend T Lock that has his Friday, thank God it's Fridays, and yourself, those kind of shows that you guys do. I know Fridays I can keep an eye out for both of you, and
Hmm.
I'm going to see one of your shows. Like, and so that for me is something. And LinkedIn, just so that people know, LinkedIn helps promote it to your network at the same time, so it will
Hmm.
notify people that that's what's going on. But I love that you touched on building a community, because that's
Hmm.
what LinkedIn Lives, I think, maybe LinkedIn audio touches on it, and that's still being rolled out. So I don't think it's a big thing. But I think LinkedIn Lives are such a great tool to build community. But how do
Hmm.
they help? How do you build a community using LinkedIn Lives?
Exactly. So when you start doing your shows and you start building following and people to get in there, building the community around what your show is about and what it is, um, those people have a tendency to want to be actively part of the conversation and part of what you do as a creator. So they're there to help and support in any way possible. So when you start building out a community, you want to include these people as part of what you do in your
Mm,
shows and everything else. Because number one, um, who knows, one of your next guests, or somebody who might become a key component of a team or anything that you're building, might come out of that community because they support what you do. And
yeah,
that's what I say, that building community is just another way that we can engage and build out our, if again, on a platform that's built around networking, what a better way than to start building out a community of people that follow, that have, sometimes they're very like-minded and align with what you have to share. And that's what's important. That's why I say, take your shows from what you do and start building a community around it. Start bringing those people and then include them in what you do. Because the thing about what being inclusive is that people have a tendency to go, you know what, they feel that their part of their fabric is now ingrained in what they get to see on the show. And when you give them a mention, hey, Mamita's back. Hey, how are you?
yeah,
Right, man, it just fuels him to want to come back and participate more. And that's how
yeah.
you, again, are going to build out something. If you're trying to do, even business wise, finding clients, and what we're talking about, building out leads, sometimes building out a community, people know and trust what you do because they feel like they're part of that community. And you know what? They might have a connection to say, you know what? I know the perfect recommendation. Let me get you in contact with Gabe. And then all of
Yeah.
a sudden, boom, you're having a conversation. And who knows, a week later, you might be working with that individual. So part of building a community is also part of what you can do to help build your lead generation, if that's what your objective
Absolutely.
is. You know?
Absolutely. And for me, I think, the points that you highlighted, people feel seen, they feel included. they get to see another side of me that I can't communicate in 1,200 characters or, 3,000 or less. I love writing, like I love creating content, but sometimes there are just things that people won't ever get from my words. They will get, a feeling from what I sound like, how animated I am. My energy levels is something that I often get feedback on from people. It's like, oh, wow, Michelle, you're so upbeat. I can't communicate that properly in just words alone. Like it
No.
is impossible. And I love that it's not like a Zoom. I feel like Zoom meetings are more you talk at people.
Hmm.
Live streaming, you include people, and that's a
People.
skill. It takes a bit of time. So you'll see me while we're doing this, that I'll be, my eyes kind of might tend to look like this as I'm looking for comments on the side. So feel free to drop them in there so that I can
Yes.
then include them in the live. So if you ever watching a live stream, you think, why is that person, like kind of doing this? That's why, because we're looking for people that we can bring into the show, answer questions in real time, and then, help other people. Like that's ultimately, I think people that do live streams just want to help and do it on a bigger
Hmm.
scale. But at the end of the day, Gabe, like lots of us are here to do business, myself included. I'm, as much as I
Of
love
course.
talking, no shortage of conversations I could have. But if I want to grow my business, how do you take that community, or how do you take the LinkedIn live and turn it into something that generates leads and opportunities for your business, whatever they look like? Because sometimes I don't really like the words lead generation. I prefer opportunities, because you may want to
Yeah.
be a guest speaker somewhere else, or you may want pure sales. That's okay. I'm no judgment on that. But I feel like it just narrows down things to people just go, it's just sales, and it's more than sales, right? So how
Right.
does it work? How do we get from here, having a chat like this, to someone wanting to work with us?
Exactly. So number one, that's why I say um, doing the formats that are very niche. You're looking for a particular individual. You're looking for a particular audience. So that is the first thing. So if your business is number one, let's just say real estate marketing or real estate
Mm,
in general, right? So you can actually go inside of your search bar here on LinkedIn, type in real estate, type in live stream real estate, type in all of these things, see how many other people are actually doing this, and then start building out in number one, engaging and connecting with these people. And then when you start doing your live streams, share a little bit of your knowledge, share a little bit of your experiences to let people know, okay, this person, this individual that I'm watching has a very, very unique skill set that I would love to listen to and learn from. And and then at that point, you can actually pretty much lead generate somebody while you're streaming. You can actually sit here and talk about, hey, we're going to be talking about these listings that are going on today, blah, blah, blah. If you're interested in connecting and learning about some of these things, um, there's a link in the chat there that you can connect, and it will send you to the website. You can sign up for blah 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 blah. You can build your streams around what it is that you do. So, like for an example, what I would do is say, hey, guys, if you're interested in learning more in depth about live streaming, uh, we can drop the link down in the comments. You can connect there. We do have courses. You can get some of our free, it just kind of lead people into any kind of funnels that you have built, any systems or processes of what you do. So it's a great way to use and target a specific audience. And then, of course, with LinkedIn, now we have things like analytics, right? It gives us, when we create our live stream events, it gives us analytics to go
mm,
back and look and see, like, number one, where's my majority of my audience? What roles do they have that they're watching? So if I'm hitting my right target audience, there's people that, oh man, I'm finding I had 15 people that attended and showed up and were engaging there that are real estate, investors or
mm.
whatever. You can
Yeah.
use that information and go reach out to a lot of these people that are in your chat, and then you can see what your audience engagement is. I mean, it's just another great way to use the tools that they're giving you. And then you can buy ancillary analytics really quickly, just like what Shield has available you can do on LinkedIn. And then my buddy Dan Hall, who's another great
Yeah.
creator, has
Love
his
him.
Peekaboo, which is, oh my God. And I'm going to tell you really quickly, if you're not using it or have not signed up for it, go try it once. It
Yeah.
is one of the best tools that I've had at my disposal.
Yeah, he does some work for me in the background, so I'll put the details of that into the comments so people can have access to it, because it just takes what you can get out of the live event to the next level. One of the things that I found really interesting, and I'm not a huge analytics fan, I don't get lost in that kind of stuff. But when I was doing a show last year, I would keep an eye on, like how many people stayed the whole amount of time. Like, so I
Mhm.
know from the stats, it takes people a few minutes after the show starts to actually get in, get live. So there was like, you could follow the curve. It would be like a few minutes, there was no one, it would spike up. And then if we went over time, bang, you lost your audience. So I'm conscious like all the time of, okay, you can't just keep talking, talking and talking as much as you would, says she. That's just realized that the time's up already. But I don't want to stop this, because the funny thing that I find on LinkedIn, we do all this work, and there's the theory about content marketing, and you become the go-to authority and you attract people. You don't have to go out. But the steps you've shared are to remind people that sales don't just always land in your lap. Sometimes you actually have to go out and do the work. So, following up the attendees, having a conversation as part of this, as you said, that says, hey, by the way, I do LinkedIn training. I've got Business Gold as a book or whatever. Now, I wouldn't do it that blatantly, like jarring. I would weave
Mhm.
that into the conversation, but it's important to remind people what you do and how you can help them, because there's nothing worse than me sitting here and going, you know what? LinkedIn Lives are amazing. Everyone needs to do them. Yep, 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 yep. And then all of a sudden you're sitting in the audience listening, going, I wish I knew how to do it, but Michelle mustn't help. Like, oh, who can help me? No one. Oh, well, I won't start, And so connecting those dots is part of, I think your responsibility. You've had people's time for half an hour. So give them something back that you've shown them and highlighted the issue that they have. Show them how you can help solve it. Like that's what
Mhm.
we're really doing here. So I am absolutely, so grateful for everything that you've shared, from the tech side to the consistency to building community and ultimately winning more business using LinkedIn Lives. So the hashtag, if you have just joined us or joined us in late, hashtag LinkedIn live streams is what you need to put on all of your live streams so that Gabe can add it to the community guide. And also, if you're wondering what live streams are coming up, throw it in the search bar, because he has created something special. I, for one, am grateful for all of the support that you've given my live streams over, I don't even know how long it's been now. It's been so long.
Yeah, so it's been
But
going on
you,
close to 6 months now.
I was going to guess that. I was going to guess that. But you have done an amazing amount of work. I know that those things don't happen by accident, and that we all get the benefit of your expertise and your sharing with your community. So I just wanted to acknowledge that, because I know it doesn't happen by accident. I know it's something that you put a lot of effort into and look for ways to do it better. So on behalf of everybody that you support, I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you to everyone that's joined the live stream. Do you have any last tips as I wrap this thing up? One short, quick tip of what people can take away today and go and take an action.
Yes, I do have one. So, if you guys are trying to get into live streaming, I would suggest to you that you go check out my buddy Russ Johns, and I want to tell you why. Um, he was my mentor. He's done over 500 live streams himself here on LinkedIn, and he specializes in helping people also get started in the process. So we work together to bring people their ideas and their visions of what they want to create to reality. And the reason that we want to do that is because I believe everybody has something to add and everybody has a voice that needs to be heard. And that's what we want to do, is make that voice, nourish it, grow it, and make it flourish. And you never know where it's going to lead to. So one of the people that's actually commenting in the chat there, she just showed up one day on one of my streams, and now she's doing her own DJ. She's done a wonderful job, but it was just simply getting their voice out there for the very first time and letting it nourish. And that's why I say it's so vital. And it's just, live streaming is for me because it is it's the quintessential everything. It is the audio, it is the visual, and it's the closest that I can get kinetically to reaching out and connecting with somebody. So other than that, um, that's what I would have to add if there's anything you do. And number two, go buy Business Gold by Michelle J. Raymond and Lanier Johnson. Learn about company pages because they have a value that is going to be enormous as the coming months start unraveling and getting new features and everything all the day. So the more you know, the more you can learn and how you can actually use a business page. So I will be waiting for my check as well in the mail.
I think we're kind of even. So, from both Gabe and I, thank you to everyone that's joined us, popped in at different stages. We'll catch this on the replay. I appreciate your time, Gabe. You've been amazing, as I knew that you would be. So, anyone that has joined us, don't forget to go and follow or connect with Gabe so that you can stay up to date with everything that he shares, because you too can learn from him like I have. So, on that note, this is the end of our show. It has been my pleasure, and thank you everyone for joining us. I will see you at the same time next week. See what I did there?
Yeah.